This is James's audience.
Welcome, welcome. So, in the Coen brothers film The Matrix, there is a character named Morpheus, a fictitious character, but he makes a statement that is very powerful and a little unsettling. He asks, what is real? How do you define real? He says, if you're talking about what you can feel, smell, taste, and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain. Reality is electrical signals interpreted by your brain. Now, that can be a very scary thing. And actually, that's what I'm going to be talking about today. I'm going to be talking about a subject I've been talking about in my work for now the last 4 or 5 years. And it's the issue of what happens when this interpretation goes wrong. Now, I'm going to be talking to you today about schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is a chronic, debilitating, and sometimes even terrifying disorder. And it warrants our understanding and our compassion. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what it is, just a couple of the major symptoms, and a little bit about its treatment. Okay? First of all, what is it? Well, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual 4, version 4, has a pretty long and complicated definition of it. I like Hockenberry and Hockenberry's definition, and it's a basic psychology textbook. And it says, a mental disorder is a pattern of behavioral and psychological symptoms that causes significant personal distress, impairs the ability to function in one or more important areas of daily life, or both. Schizophrenia does do this. And moreover, Hockenberry and Hockenberry says that schizophrenia is a psychological disorder in which the ability to function is impaired by severely distorted beliefs, perceptions, and thought processes. So again, a distortion of reality. So, causes of schizophrenia? Well, this very busy slide, if you get nothing else from it, we don't know. It's both probably a biological disorder and also an environmental disorder. And it's very common. The DSM-4 mentions it's a relatively common disorder. And to them, that means 1% preponderance in the population, which is very significant. So, the two major symptoms that I want to mention to you start with this one, delusions. Delusion is, succinctly put, a false belief, a misinterpretation of reality. Delusions can be very scary, and there are two most common delusions. The first one is delusions of grandeur. Delusions of grandeur is a condition where the person believes that perhaps they are of higher status than they are. Maybe a person believes that they are the Messiah and they have come to free us all. Or maybe the person believes that they have a special link to God and they are going to predict the future. Okay? The second type of delusion is a paranoid delusion. And this is where a person believes that perhaps other people around them are actually conspiring to harm them, to hurt them. And it could be anyone around them. It could be the pizza guy. It could be one of us, right? The second, hallucinations. And this is a very intense symptom for many people. Hallucinations are seeing, taste, touch, smell, or hear things that others do not. Remember, Morpheus even said reality is just that, seeing, touching, smelling, tasting, and feeling. In this case, the person having a hallucination may hear things that are not actually there, or they may hear voices. And with schizophrenia, auditory hallucinations are the most common. People report that they hear voices. Maybe those voices are commenting on what they're doing. Maybe there are many voices and they're hearing them. The voices, unfortunately, most often are not nice. Now, if you take these two symptoms, both hallucinations and delusions, and you put them together, you may have a situation where someone is hearing voices telling them that the person at the front door is there to hurt them. They're hallucinating hearing these voices, and then the person, when they open the front door, the person at the front door is the pizza guy. But they actually start to falsely believe that the pizza guy is there to hurt them. Right? Now, for you, if you're an allied health major, this is really important for you to be aware of, because you may be working with someone that has a hallucination, delusion, or both. How do you work with that? How do you deal with that? Well, hopefully, if you're working with people that have schizophrenia consistently, you're going to have lots of good training that's going to help you to help them. If you don't, take away just one thing, and that is you have to have empathy, exploration, encouragement, and empowerment. Virginia Duffy, in her behavioral first aid manual, writes that basically what you have to realize is logic stops. You have to connect with your feelings and that other person. Okay? First, empathy. Put yourself in those shoes of that person as best you can. Next, exploration. Do not try to tell that person that that hallucination is not real. To them, that hallucination is as real as I am to those people that are actually in my audience today. Keep that in mind. Okay? Ask questions. Find out how to help them. Communicate with them. Encourage them to get away from that hallucination as much as you can. And empower them. You do that by continuing to be with them as well. Okay? Well, what about medicine? Can you give a person medicine and just have this fixed? No. Schizophrenia is not curable. We do know that it has something to do with dopamine. And in fact, Merriam's Basic Anatomy and Physiology book indicates that neurotransmission of dopamine is increased in people with schizophrenia. So, yes, there are medicines, and in fact, Lipgott's 2010 Nursing Drug Guide outlines a whole handful of psychotic medications used to help people with schizophrenia. The thing to be aware of is this doesn't mean that the symptoms are going to go away. It just might mean that they're tempered a little bit. It might mean that the person can tell the difference between perhaps some of those voices that are real and the ones that are not. But you still, especially again if you're an allied health major, you still have to know how to communicate with that person, how to reach out to them. Now, the underlying theme of all of this is compassion. Obi-Wan Kenobi tells us, your eyes can deceive you, don't trust them. Now come on now. You know as well as I do, most of us trust our eyes very much. Telling somebody that, you may not get away with that in our lifetime. So, this is the underlying theme. Compassion. It's compassion. Make sure that whenever you're working with anybody who has symptoms, hallucinations, and delusions, especially these symptoms, work from the field of compassion first. Connect with them. And you're already going to be way beyond most people that would just write these people off as